Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. You can also find this and all other episodes of Taylor's Detroit Sports on iHeartRadio. Straight and full Detroit and Michigan sports coverage 100% of the time. If you have any opinions on everything that's going on in the Detroit sports world, call in or send a text message live on the show at 231-429-3668. Also, you can add me on Facebook as Taylor Phillips, online at facebook.com/TaylorGatorPhillips14. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page. Join my Facebook group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group. And follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips with 2 L's.
And this is episode 115 on Spreaker. Tonight we're going to recap the Red Wings, Islanders, and Pistons Raptors. Pistons Raptors. Plus I'm going to talk some Piston trade talks. I talked with a Facebook friend about it. A new Facebook friend, that is. I also have more scoop on the Jim Harbaugh Michigan football situation, plus other college basketball games coming up Saturday in the state of Michigan, and Lions updates heading into prior to the Week 16 Bears matchup in Chicago. First off, the Islanders beat the Red Wings 2-1. New York outshot Detroit 32-18. 7 giveaways by Detroit, 6 by New York. 15 block shots by the Isles and 10 by the Wings. Brock Nelson got the game time goal in the first period and an assist on Anders Lee's goal. He also got an assist. Peter Mrazek made 23 saves after Jimmy Howard left with a lower body injury of some sort. Howard made 8 saves in the first period. Now, most of you think the Islanders were too much of a team because they play strong defense.
What's here? What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me.
Here's the thing, though. The Red Wings offense shot shot way too many pucks wide of the net. And there may have been a couple penalties that the Red Wings would have drawn that the referees did not see. But that's no excuse. Mickey Redmond keeps sounding all wound up about it, about just the penalties.
Crybaby! How long are you going to keep whining like a child? You're just a crybaby, a coward!
He makes me sick when he constantly whines about the referees missing a penalty call against an opposing team. The Red Wings have now lost 4 in a row. Actually, 5 in a row. And they play Sunday at 6 against the Colorado Avalanche. And I want to give out a reminder that everybody is welcome to talk with me on the phone and on the chat window. You can call in or text in live at the show at 231-429-3668. That is 231-429-3668. 231-429-3668 is the number to call and text live on the show. And may I say ahead of time, to prove it, that I am more of a man than Bill Hughes Simonson of the Huge Show. I welcome in everyone, which also includes Jeff Moss of the Detroit Sports Rag and all of his DSR contributors, to talk to me about anything Detroit sports, Red Wings, Pistons, the Jim Harbaugh situation, and the Lions. And even college basketball. So back to the Red Wings. They just keep finding a way to lose. They've lost 3 shootouts, 3 games in shootouts, and the other 2 in regulation. One of them badly in Toronto. The Red Wings are in a bad slump. Jimmy Howard is still deflating in the shootout, and the shooters aren't scoring because they're digging too much before they approach the goaltender. They should wait until they approach the goaltender, then deep wide, and then put the puck in the net. Plus too many turnovers in regulation and in overtime. Too many shots well wide in the net. They've got to be more accurate and on goal. Tonight, the Red Wings only got 6 shots on goal in the first period, and only 7 in the second period, and 5 in the third period. Now I go to the Pistons. They also lost 110-100 to the Eastern Conference leading Toronto Raptors. At the Palace earlier tonight. There's a headline on Pistons.com about the loss, the article written by Keith Langlois. It wasn't all that long ago when what happened in the fourth quarter of Toronto's 110-100 win over the Pistons. A hard foul followed by a minor dust-up in which no punches were thrown and no players were ejected, wouldn't have been a footnote to an NBA game. After Friday's loss, though, Stan Van Gundy and Andre Drummond, the player who administered the hard foul on Toronto's James Johnson and 1 of 4 was hit with a technical foul. Drummond also assists a flagrant foul, were peppered with questions about the intent and deeper meanings. Was it good? Van Gundy was asked that one of your players showed fight. Question mark. Van Gundy said, "Yeah, we need to show it before we get down 20. Wayne will show it throughout the game. Emotions, unquote. Drummond said, quote, emotions were running high. It happens, it's basketball, there are no hard feelings. I shook his hand after the game. It's all part of the game. Pistons have plenty of reasons for their emotions to be running a little high, but start with this. They've now lost 12 straight games at the Palace, and this time the decibel level for celebratory Raptors moments was uncomfortably high for hundreds of fans who crossed the border with banners, flags, and Raptors jerseys in tow. Drummond said, quote, we've just got to do a better job to get our fans back out here again. Simple, unquote. Figuring out how to start doing that better job, complex. Van Gundy said, we had absolutely no defense will or resolve whatsoever. 60 points in the paint, you're not doing anything defensively when you give that up. Plus, Van Gundy, your team's still giving up way too many wide open threes. I keep seeing them every damn game. A few moments later, he softened his critique ever so slightly. Toronto came into the game number 3 in the NBA in offensive efficiency, trailing only the last 2 Pistons opponents, the Clippers and the Mavericks. Probably no coincidence the Pistons suffered their 3 highest scoring opponent games of the season, 113 points, 117, and 110. That's 110 plus given up in their last 3 games. Triple ouch. Van Gundy said, quote, we've played really good teams, so we've been exposed. To say we've gotten worse, it's probably more accurate to say that our defensive weaknesses have been exposed. Unquote. DJ Augustin said of the Raptors now easily in 21-6. Quote, they have a great team, they have some shooters, some good guards, they find people, and some really good big people. They played well tonight and we didn't get stops, unquote. Except they did, at least for the first 15 to 18 minutes of the game. That's where the sort of chicken or the egg thing that's playing the Pistons all year popped up. Maybe they were playing well defensively to that point. They led 41-30 3 minutes into the second quarter and had the Raptors shooting in the low 40s because their offense was giving their defense a fighting chance, scoring often enough that they weren't constantly backpedaling in transition. The Pistons were shooting over 50% up at that point, but they managed to score only 11 points over the last minutes of the second quarter, and it got worse as it went along. They missed 9 of 10 shots to close the half, by which time Toronto had made the 11-point lead completely evaporate. It wasn't hard to find a link from the start of Detroit's offensive struggles to the start of Toronto's offensive surge. The one thing the Pistons did consistently well in the first half, protect the basketball, committing just 2 turnovers. That ended emphatically and abruptly after halftime. Van Gundy said, "We started off the second half just turning it over, travel, offensive foul. I thought in the first half we played pretty good offense." 4 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the third quarter, 7 for the period. The Raptors are too good in transition and made them pay, scoring 15 points off of their 11 turnovers. Augustine said, quote, "We can't do that, especially against a team like that. They take advantage of turnovers, and we've just got to take care of the ball better and play smarter." Unquote. Van Gundy sees signs of progress offensively. Brandon Jennings is beginning to play at his mid-November level before a thumb injury cost him 3 games and set him back. He finished with 22 points and 8 assists in 31 minutes. Greg Monroe got his assortment of post moves cooking, finishing with 17 points, and Contavious Caldwell-Pope with 4 of 6 three-pointers, finishing with 18. With the flurry of offensive powerhouses now behind them, maybe the Pistons will get a more accurate gauge of just where they stay on both ends of the floor in the days ahead. Drummond said, quote, I don't think we took a step back. I just feel like it's a stepping stone. We're getting better. We don't expect things to come overnight. Nobody likes to lose. We're going to continue to work hard each and every night. We're just going to keep fighting. Unquote. Which leads to this next article. The Pistons are active in trade talks for more energetic players, Stan Van Gundy says. Professional scouts from other National Basketball Association teams are increasingly making their ways to Detroit Pistons games these days. And not just because of the upcoming schedule. There are the remnants of a 5-22 team now to pick over, and a willing auctioneer in Pistons head coach and president of basketball operations Stan Van Gundy, who said the team is an active player in trade talks. Van Gundy said, quote, earlier this week, "We're not playing with enough energy. That's the issue. And however we address it here in practice, personnel moves, whatever." Unquote. Trade markets open in full Monday, and the underachieving and overvalued Pistons are a team crying to be remade. Van Gundy said his interest in the trade market is not difficult to discern. He said, quote, "We're not happy with where we are right now. We're 5-22, so I don't think you need to say a whole lot else. I'm just being honest. Of course we're talking to people and seeing if there's things we can do both now and positioning ourselves for the future. I still think we can play a lot better. It's frustrating to me as a coach that we're not. But at the same time, yeah, we're looking to get better and we're looking to put ourselves in a better place down the road too. We're active, we're talking to people." Unquote. The Pistons have several players who could be trade targets or packaged along with those who are targets. Andre Drummond and Greg Monroe could be big targets, yet unlikely to be traded for different reasons. The Pistons hope to build around Drummond, and Monroe must approve any move. Josh Smith and Brandon Jennings are the highest paid Pistons and not Pierre Fitz in Van Gundy's system if the Pistons find takers. Jonas Jerebko and Kyle Singler are key players with expiring contracts, while veterans such as DJ Augustine and Caron Butler might fill bench needs for a contender. The Pistons also could clear up some playing time to determine what they have in second round rookie Spencer Dinwiddie if they move one of their other point guards, Augustine or Jennings. Van Gundy hopes to make the Pistons smaller and quicker in time. That one was written by David Mayo on MLive.com. Now to the article where it says breaking down the Detroit Pistons' best trade bait by Jakob Rudnick, a featured columnist of Bleacher Report. Let's see here. Florian Okic, a new friend of mine on Facebook, told me he heard from a friend, Jake Dolan, that there was a possible talk of trade for Jennings and Monroe for Isaiah Thomas, and heard Monroe for Jeff Teague and Kyle Korver. And I asked him, where did Jake get that? Florian said he doesn't know. Jake Dolan, that is. But, I got only 15 minutes left, so I'm gonna announce the 5 trade baits here. First and foremost, Josh Smith as number 1. It would be in Detroit's best interest to move Josh Smith, but doing so is easier said than done. The Mercurial forward is playing out of position. Too often next to Drummond and Greg Monroe. Is having arguably the worst statistical season of his career, and at age 29 is several years older than other members of the Pistons core. Unfortunately, he is also under contract for 2 years and $27 million after this season ends. All of that doesn't make him unmovable, but teams certainly won't have to overpay for his services. The Sacramento Kings still have interest for Vincent Bianchi, Jr. of the Detroit News. According to ESPN, the Brooklyn Nets have reportedly made players available who would fit a potential Smith trade. And in general, he has the athleticism and skill set which could bring out other suitors as the deadline approaches. But in any move, the Pistons shouldn't expect much, if anything, in the way of returning assets. In order to trade Smith, they will almost certainly have to take back at least one onerous contract. It may be worth it in order to move forward. Number 2, Brandon Jennings. He has shown glimpses of greatness throughout his career, but he's always struggled with consistency. He has improved his passing ability since his time with the Milwaukee Bucks, but it doesn't offset his frequent disinterest in defense and his questionable shot selection. He scored just 6.2 points per game on 24.1% shooting. He's only 25 years old, and his contract is palatable with just 1 year and $8.3 million remaining after this season. More than anything, he has useful NBA skills. He can run an offense and get his own shot at any time. Bleacher Report's Adam Fromal suggests that the Houston Rockets could be an ideal fit, as they could take on Jennings' salary with a trade exception while offering a draft pick in return. Houston gets to gain even more firepower and doesn't even have to lose Patrick Beverley's services in the process, said Fromal. Detroit gets rid of an ugly contract and adds one more draft day selection to the coffers, unquote. If a team offers Van Gundy a first rounder for Jennings, expect him to jump all over it. Trade bait number 3, Jonas Jerebko. He can play both forward positions off the bench, is hitting over 34% of his triples and puts in good effort defensively. Jonas Jerebko also has a contract that expires at the end of the season. He's only playing 13 minutes per game and does not look like part of Van Gundy's future plans. For a playoff team in need of shooting, he could be a cheap option on a loan for the rest of the year. The Oklahoma City Thunder are number 29 in the NBA in three-point shooting at 31.3%. And they have a number of young players. Teams like the Charlotte Hornets, the Indiana Pacers, the Sacramento Kings, and Denver Nuggets also rank among the league's 10 worst teams from beyond the arc and could attempt a playoff push. Put in the right situation, Jerebko could be a useful stretch 4 off the bench for 10 to 15 minutes per night on a playoff team. The Pistons may be able to get a second-round pick or a prospect in return for him. DJ Augustine is number 4. With the Chicago Bulls in last season and now this season, in Detroit, he has proved to be a high-end backup point guard, and at $3 million next season, Augustine is on a bargain deal. Because he has the second year on his contract, the Pistons won't be pressured to move him. But at age 27, he is on the older side for a team that is potentially in need of a long rebuild. Augustine could fit in with any team that is looking for a secondary ball handler. He's capable of running an offense and creating shots to an extent, although less so than Jennings. And though he has struggled with his three-point shooting this season, Augustine is a 37.2 shooter from the arc for his career. With his contract and abilities, Augustine could be used to acquire an asset alone or be included as part of a larger trade. On his own, he would likely fetch only modest picks or prospects. But if he's not in the Pistons' future, every asset can help to restock their roster. And finally, number 5, Greg Monroe, who was Detroit's biggest trade asset wildcard, and his place on the team is precarious. His natural position is a question mark, plus he's being squeezed for playing time and post touches by Drummond and Smith. After accepting the qualifying offer this summer, Monroe is set to be an unrestricted free agent this summer. Many suspect his time in Detroit is short. That would give Van Gundy motivation to move him, but accepting the qualifying offer also granted Monroe what amounts to a no-trade clause this season. And being traded would cost him his bird rights, very bird rights, lowering his earning potential in the upcoming free agency market. According to Sean Devaney of Sporting News, the Pistons reportedly will accept a first-round pick for Monroe, but that is a big price for a rental. And Monroe doesn't seem open to a move anyway. Perhaps the losing will wear Monroe down, or he will see a move as a way to improve his market value. But for now, he appears to be staying put, even if he is the Piston who would benefit from a trade the most. And that is it. Now let's go over to the Jim Harbaugh situation real quick. I got a couple sources off of the Huge Show's Facebook page, although I am banned from it, thankfully. Jim Harbaugh may be getting ready to become Michigan's head football coach. He makes a verbal agreement to come to Michigan. Chatsports.com reports that 2 independent sources confirm he is set to announce he's taking the position December 30th. That is unless he backs out on the verbal agreement he reportedly has made with Michigan Athletic Director Jim Hackett. The sports site, this article written by WNAM Newsroom in Saginaw TV5, on WNAM.com. The sports site reports Harbaugh's agent has been in contact with U of M since early November, telling Michigan Jim wants to return to the football powerhouse back to its winning ways. There are also reports more than 50 former Harbaugh teammates from Michigan have asked him to take the position. Harbaugh, who is currently the coach of the 49ers, reportedly wouldn't make a move until after the season was over. Earlier this week, word of a possible deal between U of M and Harbaugh was widely circulated, including the possibility of him earning $10 million a year with bonuses and incentives. U of M's former head coach Brady Hoke was fired from his position earlier this month after 4 seasons. ChatSports.com has broken several nation sports stories in the past. I will post WNEM.com's article on the Harbaugh U of M agreement after this broadcast. Now let's go to college basketball. But speaking of college football, the Western Michigan Broncos take on Air Force in the Idaho Potato Bowl Saturday at 5:45 p.m. Also in college basketball, the Michigan Wolverines take on the Southern Methodist Mustangs at noon on that day. The Western Michigan men's basketball Broncos visit the Northwestern Wildcats at 3. I'll bet they'll beat them too, like the way the Chippewas did. The Eastern Michigan Eagles take on the Missouri State Bears. At 3:05, the Oakland Golden Grizzlies take on the Pittsburgh Panthers. At 4 o'clock, the Detroit Mercy Titans take on the Rhode Island Rams. At 4 o'clock, and the Michigan State Spartans welcome in the Texas Southern Tigers at 5 o'clock. MSU is ranked 25th in the nation. And finally, some Lions updates. The Lions have signed defensive back Josh Thomas, who lost the Jets playbook over the weekend. C.J. Mosley misses practice, and same for Rob Sims. Defensive coordinator Terrell Austin would accept head coaching interviews, but not thinking about that now. And significantly improved Michael Williams is an option for promotion with Adrian Waddle IR bound out for the season. Florian Okic said the Pistons need another small forward. I might have to agree. Oh, let's see. The Lions are getting healthy just in time for the Bears game. C.J. Mosley and Rob Sims returned to practice earlier Friday. So, for the Bears, actually, they are down 2 starters, make it 3. Jay Cutler has been benched, Robbie Gould, and starting safety Chris Conte. Key starters Kyle Long, Tim Jennings, and Jeremiah Ratliff are all questionable. So that's going to do it for Taylor's Detroit Sports episode 115. Thanks for downloading and listening to my podcast. TTFN, ta-ta for now.